Hi, this is Arwani, and welcome back to Personal Development with Arwani. Today we're going to be talking about perspective. Now, I looked up perspective in the dictionary and I came up with three simple meanings. First one, perspective is your attitude towards something. Secondly, perspective is is how you consider something. And then the third one is perspective is how you see something. Now, this can be your life, it can be your job, it can be your relationships, it can be anything. We generally have a perception towards everything that is around us, towards our environment. So maybe before we go into that, I just want to remind everyone, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on the notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. So how you look at things, how you see things, your attitude towards something, at the end of the day, it dictates how you're going to react towards that particular thing. As an example, think of your job. If you think your job sucks, I don't believe that you're going to give it 100%. You're not going to give it your all. As a result, you're gonna perform poorly. You're gonna have poor performance at your job. Now, when you perform poorly at your job, I don't think that your supervisors are gonna be happy with you. I don't think you're gonna be getting good reviews from those that you work with. I don't think you'll be having good relationships at work because your performance is not up to scratch. So this will then reinforce your perspective. It will reinforce the view that your job sucks. So it just becomes one vicious cycle that keeps going on and on and on. And it all started with how you see your job, how you feel towards your job. So today we're going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about three things that can, improve how you see your life. It can improve your perspective on your life. So number one, the first thing that you need to do in order to improve your perspective in life is you have to define who you want to be. Because when you define who you want to be, it's much easier to work on that. You have defined it, you have a reference point. So when you define it, an example of that would be, say, still in the same example of work, you feel that people are generally not treating you well. You think maybe you feel that your subordinates don't communicate well with you. Then you can decide that you want to be a better communicator at work, not wait for them to change, but you decide on your own that you want to be the better communicator. So you have defined what you want to be and what you want to do. So this is going to help you in order to have a look at what is it that you need to improve with regards to communication. So if you hadn't defined it, you were not going to know what it is that you need to work on. So it is very critical that you need to define what it is you want to be. So after defining who you want to be, you make it easier for the second step, which is our number two, and that is you need to position yourself. Now, continuing with the first example of wanting to be a better communicator at work, you need to now learn to position yourself. I like to say that imagine being at a soccer field. You haven't watched soccer in a stadium, your first experience of soccer, and you decide to go and watch it in a stadium. Then God forbid you go and you sit at the stand on the side where the team eventually loses. I don't think your experience of soccer is gonna be what you expected it to be, because the side that loses, obviously you would experience a lot of disappointment from that side. There would be people that are angry. There would be, the mood would generally be down. So it is still the same sport, but now because you chose to sit on the losing side, you're gonna think that soccer is a sad game, it's a depressing game, people feel sad, people feel angry. Whereas on the same match, if you decide to sit on the side where that team eventually wins, There will be a lot of celebrations. People will be happy. There will be a lot of love, a lot of happiness. So positioning yourself is critical in that matter, that you could be watching the same game, but based on where you're sitting on the stands, you're gonna get different experiences. So at work, if you want to be a better communicator, then you need to position yourself, hang around other people that you regard as good communicators. You'll be exposed to good communication, and when you're exposed to that, you start thinking in that kind of way. But if you hang out with the people that do not communicate well, you're gonna continue in that path. So position yourself in the area where you want to improve on. Position yourself in the area that you have defined. Whatever that you define that you want to be this person, you need to position yourself there. You need to position yourself around such people. Positioning yourself. If you want to be the best performer at work, hang out with the best people. Be at work on time. That's positioning yourself. Come to work on time. Maybe be the first person to come into the office, be the last person to leave. Be visible, be noticeable, work hard. Like, just position yourself. Whenever someone wants to think of a hard worker, they should automatically think about you because of how you've positioned yourself. Be around people that generally look out for the hard workers. But if you're going to decide to hang out with those that are complaining, those that think the same job sucks, you're not positioning yourself well, because you're just gonna form part of that of the people that are complaining, and those that are actually looking out for people that perform better would then miss you, because you're falling into the crowd of people that complain. You're falling into the crowd of people that are known to be negative. So where you position yourself is very critical in improving your perspective about your life, about your environment. And this leads us to number 3. Our third point is knowledge. Now, what you know about something determines how you act towards that. It determines your attitude towards that. Say, for instance, you are about to meet somebody new, somebody for the very first time. Maybe that someone is me. And then someone close to you, a friend of yours, tells you that I am a bad person. I think you would view me as a bad person. And when we do actually meet, how you're going to act towards me would be how you generally treat a bad person. But then what I'm saying is, instead of doing that, why don't you invest in knowledge about me before you make a judgment? Why don't you get to know me better and then only decide after that? You'll find that maybe, hey, I'm a great guy, I'm someone that can make you laugh or something like that, So it's just like in the work environment. Invest time in knowledge about your work. Find out from people that are doing good at their work. How do they do it? Read books about how you can improve at your work. Take your time, put in effort in learning about things that you can do to improve your performance at work. And you will generally start to see that the more effort you put in getting knowledge, in finding out what you can do in order to improve, the more you start doing that stuff, the obvious result is you're going to start seeing some improvement in the performance at work. And when you start improve, the very same colleagues around you that used to see you as a poor performer will now start seeing you in a different light. They'll start seeing the effort that you put in. They'll start seeing the good results that you bring, and that will in turn change how they act towards you. So the first vicious cycle that we described, whereby everything was just going the wrong way, the same thing is going to start happening, but only this time it's going to be positive. And every time it happens, you're just gonna, your performance is just gonna improve more and more and more. And you realize that when such things start happening in your workplace, you're gonna start loving your work. You're gonna start having an improved perspective about your work. This also applies in relationships. If you don't know your partner, if you don't know your friend or your business partner, you might be treating them in a way that is really wrong. without you being aware, because you're treating them on your lack of knowledge. You're treating them based on your lack of knowledge. So take the time to get to know your partner. Take the time to get to know your spouse. Take the time to get to know your friend, and that will give you a much better way on what are the things that you can do to make them happy. And when they're happy, they're more likely to also make you happy. And when both people are happy in a relationship, it becomes an improved relationship. And it all started with your perspective. So in conclusion, in order to improve your perspective on something, you have to make sure that you define what you want to be. You have to position yourself based on what you want to be. And then lastly, you need to improve your knowledge on the subject matter. I strongly believe that anyone out there that's watching, that you go out and follow these tips, and I do believe that they will improve the way you see things, as things will start improving in your life. And maybe before I sign out, I just want to remind everyone that hasn't yet subscribed to our channel, that go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to also turn on your notifications so that you can be notified whenever we post a new video. Thank you.